Culver Street Fair is going on today, which is too bad a lot of people had to go there. And I love Culver Street Fair, it's great fun. But other things are also going on, graduations and weddings, all kinds of things. So I really appreciate all of you that made an effort to be here today. It's just a great treat. And it's a great treat to have Deanna with us today. As I said, I made her acquaintance through her audio tape after she spoke to Seattle Lions. But her story is just mind-boggling, and she's absolutely wonderful. I spent yesterday evening getting a session on my hands and feet and finding out about all my past lives. No, not all of them. And we have to tell people, whatever she tells you, it's not all of them, because she can't possibly address all of them in an hour or so. Besides, you don't knew them all right now. You'll get what you need. She said once she got 20 minutes worth of messages, and then all of a sudden it stopped. But if you're one of those people, you'll still get a good hand and foot massage if you signed up for a session. All of them are booked. They were booked within 24 hours after I sent out the email. So there are no more this time. But in any case, we are very fortunate to have Deanna here today, and we want to give her a warm welcome.
Are you going to stay up here with me?
No, I'm not.
Hi. I'm accustomed to seeing everybody. I'm not a public speaker, so if I'm nervous at first, bear with me. I'll still be here till it's done. My name is Deanna. Most recently, I come from Seattle, Washington. I had my first past life experience the end of January in 1967. And at that time, we didn't talk about that stuff. Lord knows I tried, but no one wanted to hear it. And pardon?
Past life or near death?
Oh, sorry, near death. See, it all gets mixed up in my mind. But before I do that, I wanted to, she was talking about children earlier, having past life recall. And my son, I have 3 children, and they're all grown now with kids of their own. But he was, I think, 3. And I took them on an outing in San Francisco Harbor on the Balclutha, which is an old whaling vessel. And he started climbing the rigging, and so quickly I had to jump to catch his ankle and pull him down. He just scared me so badly. And I said, Alan, what are you doing? What are you thinking? He said, Mother, I do this every day. Let go of me. And I said, you don't do this every day. You've never been on a ship. That was just one. That was my first experience with children and their past life stuff. Okay, 1967, a near-death experience. I had peritonitis the first part of January, and my gynecologist sent me to my mother's house because he couldn't trust me to stay down at my own. So he gave me medicine and said, go stay with Sylvia until this gets localized, and then we're going to do surgery, which is what happened. He was trying a new procedure, which he called a bikini scar. No. He was going to do what he called laughingly an inside job. There wouldn't be an outside scar. The surgery went fine, and when I'm in the recovery room, a bleeder worked loose under my diaphragm, and so I could only breathe so deeply. and it wasn't very deeply at all. And after a few minutes, I couldn't breathe at all. So they put me back in surgery, and then I got the bikini scar, and I also got gone. I lifted and went back into the corner of the operating room. I didn't know what these people were working on. I didn't know it was me. You know, you're so draped and everything. I couldn't tell it was me. But I could tell they were working really hard. And I heard the doctor say to one of the nurses, "You can't stay in here without putting those funny socky things on their feet that cover their shoes." He said, "You have to go and put those on." Well, this looked really boring. I didn't know who this was, and I couldn't be bothered, so I just left. And when I left, pardon me, I went in a gray place. I hear people talk about a tunnel. I didn't see any sides to this, so I didn't know it was a tunnel, if it was a tunnel. But there was a light at the end. It was a huge place, bigger on the sides than this auditorium. And it was darker on the sides, but there didn't seem to be any walls. I'm not explaining this very well. And I was moving. I was not able to be still. I thought I was walking. But have you been at the airport where they have those moving sidewalks? And I thought I was walking like this, but I was really moving like that, really fast. And I could see other beings along with me, different shapes, sizes, colors, kinds. There were short people and tall people and big people. And they all looked really bewildered. And most of them were moving very slowly. There were even animals. I saw a few cats and dogs. I don't remember seeing any others. But I kept trying to slow down and look to see if I recognized any of these people. I didn't. But I'm moving towards the light. That part I'm really clear about. And I get there pretty quickly. Although it seemed like a really long ways away when I started. The light was like that. And it kept growing. Like every few yards, it would get closer and the light would be bigger. And by the time I got there, it was enormously bright, like nothing I had ever seen before. And it was like Dorothy stepping out into Oz, because the colors were startlingly brilliant. And they all had a palpable texture, really bright colors, and they all emitted their own smell and their own tone, which is something I had no idea about. But flowers and trees and grass and everything has its own, it's not a melody, it's just a tone. And it all seems to sound like an orchestra making beautiful music, but without a melody. There's no phrasing, it's just tone, tone, and each one of them is gorgeous. It's beautiful, and so I walked around this lovely place. The grass was really squishy, and the flowers. Has anyone seen the movie What Dreams May Come? Thank you. It was like that, only without the paint. But everything seemed very deep. The flowers, the trees, and there were rabbits and birds and all kinds of animals around, each thing making its own tone. And I saw in front of me, about like to the end of the auditorium there, a beautiful river flowing. And it was pretty wide. But everything looks even more interesting on the other side, so I keep moving towards it. And then I see down on the left over there, a bridge, a funny old stone bridge, looks like straight out of Brigadoon, with a big hump in the middle. And it was gorgeous, stone bridge, and I went, yeah, there's how I can get over there. I'll just walk down there. And by the time I got there, there were 3 beings standing on the bridge, coming this way as I'm trying. So I scoot over on one side, and they scoot there too. And so I scoot over to the other side, and they scoot over too. And I say, excuse me, if you just move one way or the other, then I can get over there. I know I can get over there. And they didn't say a word. They just made it very clear that I was not to step foot on that bridge. They weren't mean. They didn't say a word. They didn't do this or that. They just were not going to let me go. So I started to ask a question, because I always ask way too many questions. And when I started the why business, the negative thought brought me immediately back into my body, just like that. And I landed like that. Scared myself and startled myself and realized I'm back. And I hurt everywhere. I didn't realize before how heavy a body is, and I was much smaller then. But it still weighed 500 pounds, and my eyelashes hurt, and my hair hurt. Everything hurt because I didn't realize how dense we are in bodies. So I tried to tell my doctor that I heard, and I tried to tell him where I'd gone, and he didn't want to hear it. And he said, maybe you were allergic to the anesthesia. Maybe you had not enough oxygen to your brain. Maybe, and he had a list of maybes, and I just went, I know what I saw. You can make excuses if you want to, but I know what I saw. So that was my first one. And that was really the most that sounds like a near-death experience. My second experience happened in 1971. In November, 3 days after my second husband died in an automobile accident. And so I spent 2 days, trying to arrange all the legal and technical things that need to be taken care of. But I had surgery scheduled for a month and had to postpone it for a complete hysterectomy. I call them hystericlectomies because I thought they were funny. But, so I went ahead with this, even though if I had told my doctor that Bud had died, I know he wouldn't have let me do that. I thought, oh well, I've had one before, and this time I'll just go be with him. I was delighted. And so I did that. And I didn't have any tunnel. I didn't have any beautiful green grass and gorgeous music. I went straight to Bud. And I went, hi! Guess what? And he said, honey, I'm really glad to see you, but you can't stay. I went, no, wait a minute. You don't understand. I've had 2 days of paperwork. You know how I hate paperwork? I'm staying right here. No. You're not listening to me. You can't stay here. I said, no, you don't understand. I'm staying right here, and wherever you go, I'm going with you. He said, you're not listening to me again. You can't stay here now. And so I argued long and hard, and I can do that really well. And he said, honey, it's not up to me. you're not done. You have to go back. You have agreements. You sign contracts. No, you have agreed to do certain things. I said, well, okay, then tell me, and I'll do them, and I'll be right back. He said, no. If I tried to explain it to you, you haven't had enough experience in that lifetime to understand what's coming next. So you have to go back and do all of this. I'm not. The kids are taken care of, the house is taken care of. You're not listening to me. I'm here to stay. He said, hush and listen to me. If it will make you feel better, when it's time for you to go, I will come and get you. Oh. Okay. And with that negative thought, back in the body again. And just as painful as it was before. But this time, I figure, okay, I have stuff to do. I better get on it. So the nurses are coming in and trying to take care of me, and I said, get out of here. If I'm gotta get better and do this, then move. Let me get up and do it. So I have IVs attached to me, and I'm dragging them with me all over the hospital, mostly up to the roof so that I can watch the sunsets and sunrises, which all of a sudden are really important to me, and I didn't know why or how until I saw City of Angels and realized the tone again is remarkable in color and form that we don't pay attention to. We get so busy in our workaday lives. So I spent a lot of time up on the roof enjoying sunsets and sunrises. And he was right. I wouldn't have believed him if he told me that I'd be speaking in front of people. But I learned a lot of things since then. I've learned that we don't appreciate the stuff we have. We always concentrate on what we don't have instead of being grateful. The word really means taking time to appreciate. The gratitude you exude and give out helps make room for more good stuff. So you have to, the things have to come from a feeling place, your third chakra, your small brain, where you feel stuff. And it needs to come up past your heart chakra, past your throat, the heart chakra to make you appreciate, love it, the throat chakra to set it in motion. When you say the word, you set it in blueprint for your guides to help you get what it is you think you're wanting. You have to, it has to come past here. You have to verbalize it. You need to say the words so they have stuff to work with. So you treat, you say it, you treat and move your feet. You treat when you say it, and you move your feet when you move your body, when you scrub the floors or wash the car. You generate, you create energy for them to work with to make things happen for you. It's amazing how these simple things work. So, I have children. They are grown. I have grandchildren, and most of them are grown. I have great-grandchildren, and it's fun to watch the kids teach us things as we get open enough to listen to them. Tell me what I need to say to them now.
Something about when you were a child and
Oh yeah, oh that. Oh yes,
and how you got into it.
how I got into doing past life stuff, which I was not raised to believe in, by the way. But I've always been a really curious person, and I always ask way too many questions, as anyone who knows and loves me can attest. When I was little, about 3 or 4, I was the first grandchild of my family, so my grandmother would pick me up and sit me on her lap. And I always saw the Civil War around her. But at that age, I didn't know what that was. I only knew that it was really uncomfortable and it smelled awful. And so I didn't like people to touch me. I kept picking up things from them. My Uncle Roy, he would do the same stuff, put me on his lap, how's my girl, and I always saw the First World War around him. The gas in the trenches and the barbed wire everywhere. It was just terrible. So my second husband, before he died, he insisted that I learn to do massage. Well, I'm the kid in the corner going, please don't touch me, please don't touch me, for everybody. And I come from a great big kissy huggy family. This was really peculiar. So after I'd learned to massage, working on a client one day, I'm just, that's not funny. Bud insisted, I was looking for a job one day, and Bud insisted that there's an advertisement in the paper that says, massage therapist, no experience necessary, will train. Well, this was San Francisco, and this was in the 70s, so I was really, really naive. Please understand this. So I went there, and the guy says, here's your oil bottle, you rub it on, you wipe it off. I went, what? There's got to be more to it than that. The heck did I know? So I get home that night, which is a 50-mile drive, and my husband's waiting for me in the living room, and is all together. And he said, come show me what you learned today. So I went and got the baby oil, and I rubbed it on him, and I wiped it off. And he said, take your clothes off and lie down here. So I rubbed on him, he rubbed on me, I rubbed on him, he rubbed on me. And 5 o'clock in the morning, I said, I'm done, I'm tired, I'm going to bed, you're going to have to teach me more of it later. So, probably a month into this, and I told you I was naive. The other girls are turning in like $500 at the end of the night, and I've got 50, and I'm going, there's something wrong here. But besides that, I've had some really interesting clients. And one of them is how I put it all together. And then I quit. But Bob, I hadn't ever seen him before. Sweet little round cancer face, freckles and sandy hair person, and so he's lying on his stomach, and I'm working on his right leg, and just moving right along, and all of a sudden I'm holding on to his calf of his leg, and it just disappeared under my hands. And I thought, oh Lord, my brothers and sisters have been telling me I've been crazy all these years, and I never believed them, but maybe I am. So I took a deep breath and I tried to hold on. His leg is there, but it's only like a bone with burned skin over it. Very peculiar feeling. So I'm trying to breathe and not freak out and not get crazy. But I stopped rubbing him, and so he turns around to look at me and say, hey, Deanna, what's going on? When he looked at me, he didn't have this sweet little round moon face. He had a long, thin face with a black goatee and black hair and a mustache. And I thought, oh dear, it's got worse than I thought. I said, Bob, just give me a minute, will you please? And when I'm trying to catch my breath and not go crazy, the pictures start coming from my touching his leg. And I see him, a neighbor, and he's standing in my kitchen, and it's early 15th century, no, 16th century, Spain. And I see him in a Spanish doublet and hose, and he's teasing my teenage daughter and telling her that he's gonna wait to get married until she grows up because he loves her so much. And he's an old family friend, and they have this running thing going all the time. So, and I'm explaining this to him, what I'm seeing. And now that I look back on that, I can't think why I did that, except I'm trying to maintain some reason for being there, holding on to this funny leg. I said, Bob, I see you in Spain and you're teasing my daughter while I'm trying to fix dinner, and you have this crippled leg. And you kind of drag it around with you, and then every once in a while you lean back on it. And he said, boy, that's funny you should mention that. I broke that leg a couple of years ago, and I had a cast on hip to heel, and that's just what I did. And the doctor said, have you broken this leg before? Because you seem really comfortable with this funny cast. And he said, and I love Spain, and if there was a place in the world I could go to, that would be it. Well, it didn't sound quite so crazy anymore, but I'm still not quite comfortable. But I started rubbing his leg again, and sure enough, the pictures are still coming. So I tell him that he's not, I don't see him as aristocracy, but I see him as a very wealthy ship owner, and he has like 5 or 6 ships, and he makes his money sending them to the New World and back, and he sells the gold that he brings back to my husband, who's a goldsmith. And that on one of his return voyages, in a storm, he dies. And he said, that's why I don't go to Spain, because I don't even take baths, he said. I take showers. I am terrified of drowning. And I went, oh, good. Well, now this is starting to make some sense. But on my way home that night, I remembered then being little and seeing, by now I'm 30, and I know what the Civil War is. And I know my grandmother was nowhere near old enough to have been in the Civil War. So I figure it's a past life thing. And my Uncle Roy was in the Second World War, not in the First World War. But now that I'm an adult, these things make sense to me, where as a child, I was just frightened, and it was easier for me as a child not to let anyone touch me than to see pictures that I couldn't explain and were frightening. Is that what you wanted me to say? Oh, my husband insisted that I learn to do massage. Yeah. My husband was a coroner's investigator. And he knew human anatomy probably better than anyone I know. And death wasn't scary to him. It was business. And we had some really interesting conversations over the years. We still do from time to time. And when he died, he would come around the house and rattle pictures, and I said, Grandstander. You're just a Leo, you just want to be noticed. Okay. I notice you, and I miss you. And, oh, I don't know, it was probably the week after my surgery. I went home, and I had tried really hard after he died to get in touch with his mother, to tell her, number one, that he had died, number two, that I was taking care of things. She was LDS, a Mormon, and they don't believe in cremation, which is what Bud told me he wanted me to do. He said, when I die, not if I die, when I die, I want you to cremate me, and then I want to be scattered at sea. I said, okay, don't talk about diet, okay? He said, pay attention. When I die, I want to be cremated and scattered at sea. And he said, you're going to have some trouble with Mother over this, and probably my brother, because that's not what our religion teaches us to do. So I tried to get a hold of Mary by telephone. She was in between the islands. She had gone to Hawaii for a trip, and I couldn't get hold of her. I tried all day, the Friday after he died, early that morning. And since I couldn't reach her, and it was a weekend, I knew I had to do something right then, otherwise they would have to embalm him to hold him over until Monday. So I said, go ahead and do this. And his brother had gone and made an identification. So I didn't have to do that, but I had to see him and make sure it was him. So I stood outside the door for a minute, and I said, okay, I guess I'm going to do this. And while I'm standing there cogitating and ruminating, I was wearing a scarf. I had long hair at the time, and it was around my head and tied. And he pushed it off my head, and he kissed me on the cheek. And I said, okay, because he was in an automobile accident, I knew it was going to be ugly. I said, all right, honey, if you're not in that body, then I don't care what it looks like, as long as I know it's you. So I did go in, I did see him. Everything worked out fine. Then I had my surgery, and a week later, I was going to pick up the ashes. When they brought me home from the hospital, we were just going to swing by the hospital and then go home. In the meantime, Mary had come back from Hawaii, and she was not happy with me for having made that decision without her, about her baby boy. But when I got home, the next morning, Mary came into my bedroom early, like 6 o'clock early, and said, Deanna, I'm really sorry, but came to me last night in a dream and said, don't give her a hard time. She knows what she's supposed to do. Let her do it. So I came in to apologize, and whatever you want to do is fine, and I'll try and behave myself. I said, Mary, I realize you feel left out of this, and I'm sorry. If it will make you feel better, then you can take Bud's ashes up and scatter them. People get really possessive about their children. Have you noticed? She said, thank you. I would appreciate that. I said, my job's done. I did what I told him I would do, and that's enough. But about maybe a year later, I would call on him from time to time. I had teenagers, and I was tearing my hair. And I was alone. I was damned alone. And I really felt miserable and sorry for myself. So I'd call on him from time to time, and I had a dream one night, and he came to me and he said, come here. Always the teacher. He was 12 years my senior, so that was fine. He said, bring a chair over here in this very large kitchen area that we have. Bring a chair over here. And he sat down. He said, I want you to go in there and get that really long butcher knife. I went, what? He said, I want you to insert it lateral. Remember, he's a scientist. Insert it laterally, and I want you to walk around me. I went, no, that would cut your head off. He said, Deanna, I'm dead. I want you to know I'm dead. You can't keep calling me every few minutes. You need to realize, and this is the only way I could think of to tell you, you're dead. I'm dead. Not you're dead. I'm dead. So he said, I love you, and when you call me, I will come, but he said, I've got really important things to do, and you just got teenagers, so deal with it. Okay, so I did. He said, it's like a parent, you know, if you have small children, and they say, Mommy, you go. You may have stuff on the stove, you may be doing dishes, but you put down what you're doing and you go see what they need. He said, please stop doing that for a while. I have really important people really need me here. I got it. Thank you. So, that's what I did, and I'm trying to tell you. If you have a mom who's gone, a dad who's gone, a child who's gone, if you call them, they come. But they're busy doing other stuff. They're doing their own learning processes, and they need to be present there. What else?
You had said it goes through the heart and the throat. Was there anything further?
Well, this is what sets it. This is what sets it in motion. The word, oh, that's what I meant to say. Words are really important things. And you need to say the words you really mean. If you're saying words like, whatever, please, or like all the time, or you know, which really gets me crazy. No, I don't know. If you mean for me to know something that you're trying to tell me, use a word. Use an appropriate word. That's why we have language. That's why we're not telepathic. We need the words to say exactly what we mean. And we mean exactly what we say. Otherwise, people get the wrong idea. So, please, think about what you're saying before the word comes out, not afterwards. Sometimes you have to, but do what you can about thinking first. Is this exactly what I mean to say? Words are fascinating things to me, and I've been a wordsmith for a while. Understanding is one of my favorites, a Pisces word, because Pisces have to do with feet, which has to do with understanding, standing under. This is what stands under you. This is where everything flows to. This is where things gather, like the end of a river where everything goes. So Pisces and Virgos need their feet rubbed often because things get stuck there. And the word understanding is what you want to do. When you have a problem, to understand it, you need to stand under. You need to feel the load. You need to feel how wide it is, how heavy, how long, how problematical. So think about the things you say. It's just one silly example, but think about the things you say before you say them to people, because they can hurt unnecessarily sometimes. They can heal very necessarily sometimes. Don't be afraid to say you love people. Don't be afraid to say, come and give me a hug. Things that happen to your body happen for reasons. The body is the mirror of what's going on inside you. Can't you tell? We all have problems. Part of being alive means you got problems. This is crash course place. Everybody's alive to learn the lessons only being alive on earth can give you. And if you're done learning, then you're not here anymore. And if you're still alive, you're still learning. So, what else? I mean, I can talk about lots of stuff, but it's not all to do with near-death stuff, even though that's fascinating.
You can open it to questions.
Oh, good. Questions? No questions?
No.
Are we out of here?
No.
You in the back, could you please stand up and say your name?
Hi, my name is Dave.
Yes, Dave.
Can you tell us a little bit about your own experiences of your own past lives or how that's affected your life.
Okay.
Repeat the question, please.
He asked, could I say something about my own past lives and how I got to be aware of them? Is that what you mean?
Or how it's affected your life.
Oh, that.
This way.
How it's affected me. I'm really lucky. I have a guide, we all have guides, but my guide is named Raymond, and he's usually right, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to poke you. He's right here. And he talks in my ear all the time. Sometimes I'm really stubborn. I know I am. And so he has to do something to my ear to get my attention, to make me hear him if I'm shining him on. We have been together other lifetimes. This lifetime, he's here just for me. And there have been other times he tells me I've been there just for him. I learned about 40 of my lifetimes, and it's taken a while. I can't read for me. I don't know why that is. It's just, I can see out, and that's probably why we have eyes, huh, that look out there instead of eyes that look in. The life as a goldsmith. My husband a goldsmith. One day, before any of this started happening, I'm whizzing through a store. We don't have them anymore. They're kind of like Walgreens. They were called Thrifties in California, and they had a bunch of tables with sale stuff on it. And when I'm scooting through as fast as I can do when I'm really intent on something, out of the corner of my eye, I happen to see this piece of junk jewelry, which usually I like real stones. Real stones feel a particular way, but my mother, never mind. I found this pair of earrings, and I can't wear earrings. They give me a headache. Anyway, I had to have them, and I didn't know why. I figure $1, okay, I can do this. What attracted me to them was, I found out later, they were an exact replica of the earrings that my husband, the goldsmith, had made for me upon the birth of our daughter, which had all 3 of our birthstones in them. And that was kind of an aha moment later, years later, when I found out what it was. I kept them, and I think I only have 1 left. But you don't see spirit in front of you. You see spirit peripherally, because your eyes are trained to focus on things, and spirit is not a focused thing. So that's what drew me to those earrings. And I do see spirit, and that's happened since my past life. I mean, my near-death experience. I don't know what to tell you about past lives for me. I do know that most of this stuff unveiled itself or evolved after my NDE. Now I do it, and I have to pay attention when I work at a healing center right now, and I do reflexology there. And I have to turn off the ability to do past life stuff, because most people aren't up for that. So I have to just focus on the feet and the hands and try not to pay attention to anything else. Yes, sir. Would you stand, please, and tell me your name?
My name's Rick. I'm in Culver, Indiana.
Hi, Greg.
I've come a long way for these meetings. What I wanted to ask you is, do we choose of our own accord to come back to a new life, or does something force us to, whether we want to or not? Can we stay if we want to?
The question was, do we choose to come back, or is there something that forces us to. Karma forces us to, and that's us. We make our lifetimes each time. And what happens this lifetime will affect our next one. And most of it has to do with guilt and love and the attachments we make while we're in the body. Our spirit doesn't have those kind of attachments. Only our body does. This is of the earth. This is of the earth. So this is what attaches us. The spirit isn't attached to anything except other spirit. So we choose to come back each lifetime for whatever reasons only your own lifetimes can tell you. We choose our parents, and that's really scary. We choose our birthdays so that we have the tools that we need each lifetime to work on what we're supposed to be working on. It's just a matter of digging through stuff to find out what it is that we're supposed to be here for each time. Does that answer your question?
Sort of.
We like sign a contract. We decide on the other side what we're supposed to do when we're here. And we pick people that will most or closest to help us, give us the tools that we need to do that job. We may have like 10 things to do when we come back here. We may only get 3 of them done, 4 of them done. I don't know. Everybody's a little different. When you get into a body, you find out how everything smells so good and everything feels so good and it tastes so good. We get really caught up in the sensuousness of being alive. And it's hard to focus on what we came here to do.
Do we get to take a breather
When we die.
Or do we go slam right back into a new life?
No, listen. In between, we're supposed to take a breather. We're supposed to, when we die, we're supposed to go someplace and rest. That's a funny word. We're supposed to go someplace and assimilate how this lifetime has fit in with our soul's growth into all the other lives we've had. And if it fit, and if it didn't, then what to do to make the next one more, better, different. And sometimes people do come immediately back in, and they haven't had a chance to do that, and so they make the same mistakes all over again. And an excellent example of that is how often we have wars, like every 20 or something years. So the people who get stuck in this military stuff, they die, and they feel like they've been cheated. You know, I was only 19, I was only 23, I'm not done. And so they come back in the first available body, and what do they want to do? Go back to war. That's what they knew. So this thing keeps getting perpetuated. We got to stop this nonsense. Stand up and tell me your name, please.
Marielle.
Marielle?
When you do the readings, are you able to see the reasons why those particular lifetimes are coming up?
Sometimes, rarely. Oh, she wants to know, Marielle wants to know, if when I'm doing past life readings, the reasons these particular lifetimes are bubbling to the surface, which is what I call the ones I read. They just seem to come to the surface, and when I touch them, they become pictures. Sometimes that's made evident, and many times it isn't. I never know what's going to come to the surface. I wish I did. It certainly would make things easier for everybody concerned, but I will tell you what Bud told me. Sometimes you aren't far enough along to understand how that works. It's like you have to go through all this so that when you get here, all that makes sense. Sorry, it's the best I can do. That sounds pitiful, but it's true. Now, did I see someone over here? Yes, would you stand, please? And tell me your name again.
My name is Evan.
Evan.
Can you see spirit guides and guardian angels?
Yes, sir, I can. Not always, but a lot of the time. Way in the back. Can you stand, please, and tell me your name?
I'm Joy. I just was wondering, do you see the spirit guides around now, or just when you're...
Right now, there are so many spirits in the room, it's hard to discern who belongs to whom. Because when we have a group like this, not only do we bring our spirit guides with us, but there's so much here that others come just because it feels good. And so the room gets really, really full. Yes, Ted?
Oh, say, she already knows me. Diane, don't shoot me for this. This just came by. They said, what if some woman, as a child, would grow up and choose to be a prostitute? What kind of a spiritual lesson could that possibly provide?
Just a minute, Ted. You said, suppose a woman...
A girl grows up, chooses to be a prostitute. What kind of a spiritual lesson could that possibly provide?
A prostitute. Honey,
Yeah.
it takes all kinds.
Yes,
And
right.
there are all kinds of lessons. And some of those have to do with understanding other people's foibles, teaching people how to be sensual. Some of their customers, I don't know. It can be any number of reasons. It's the oldest profession in the world, they tell me, so I'm guessing somebody needs those lessons. What the heck do I know? I just work here. Yes, ma'am. Could you stand and tell me your name?
Marcia. And my question is regarding reflexology.
Yes, ma'am.
I somewhat have been mildly interested in it,
Mhm.
and I've got some excellent books, probably some very old books. But I understand pretty much the physical aspect to certain parts of the body. But would you please address the spiritual aspects of reflexology?
The spiritual aspects of reflexology. Well, let me think. I don't know how to separate that. When I do reflexology, and I do it a lot, I mean, not always for money, because I've had people, and I ask them, can I touch you? There's something about the connection that I feel that, I don't know what it would be for you. But when you have someone who does work on the body, whether it's a hairdresser, or a reflexologist, or a massage therapist, when you have someone who changes the aura in any way, they need to know that it's a huge responsibility and that it's really hard sometimes to stay clear about your intention. Bud told me when I start to do massage, apart from the place where I started, was that you may never say no. If someone comes to you and says, I need your help, you have to do it. That's what I was told. That may not be true for you. Because there are personal truths and then there are cosmic truths. We have to decide for ourselves what all that entails, personally. Anybody else? While we're sitting here? Yes, way in the back.
My name is Caitlin. For what purpose do you feel you were given this gift?
Is this a gift?
Whether you address that too.
Okay. She asked, why was I given this gift? There are no gifts without tests, and there are no tests without gifts. this is a gift most of the time. I'm being told that I earned it. Now, whether that's a positive or a negative thing, you tell me. I don't know why. I do know one of my lifetimes, I was Japanese and I was blind, and how I made my living was doing massage. And after I got past the nonsense of where I learned to do massage and started being serious about it, my hands know what I'm doing lots more than my brain ever did. Yes, sir.
I was going to say that.
Could I hear your name, please?
My name is Noel, and I was going to say that gifts are lessons that have been completed.
Thank you.
Right?
Yes, sir.
That's why it's so easy for you to do it.
You think this is easy?
Well, you don't need a teacher. You know what to do.
Thank you. He said gifts are tests that are completed, lessons that are completed. So if that helps. Yes, sir.
My name's Mike.
Yes, Mike.
I was just wondering how you deal with the negativity from others and yourself.
Negativity. I try really hard to keep white light around me all the time, and believe me, I have to work at it. And I don't do well in crowds. I very often stay away from things that I used to enjoy. I don't go to the opera anymore. I rarely go to the movies. I have to sit in the back because there's too much stuff. And I can't stand people kicking my chair. So I try, when I know I'm going to be around a bunch of people, to take a few deep breaths and remember to wrap myself in white light. And sometimes I forget, and sometimes I get in the middle of stuff, and I have to go like into a restroom somewhere and try and get me cleared out. It's not easy. and it takes constant effort. And it's not that everybody's negative, it's just that sometimes the combination of things gets negative. Yes, sir, in the back. Would you?
Hi, my name's Bob.
Hi, Bob.
Hi. I have a question about past lives. I've had a couple past life readings. I've had a couple past life regressions. And how do we know, like, it's not just some nice little stories that either I'm making up or the other person is?
Okay. He asked about past lives, regressions, or readings, and how do we know whether they're just nice little stories or if they're true? What does it feel like to you, Bob? Usually if it's true, it will resonate somewhere in you. You will feel like you did that before, or that's what I've found. I don't do past life regressions. They don't go back for me. I go back for them. And I've been told that that's the lazy person's way of doing it, and that they need to be regressed so that they feel it. Some of the things are really miserable and they're hard to get through. It's hard enough sometimes just to know about them without having to feel it all again. So, and most of us are tied one way or another, or 6 ways to Sunday, to our families. More than once, because we keep coming back in the same karma groupings to understand, this is my mom, this is my dad, this is my son, this is my daughter, and we've all been everything to each other, so that after a while, when it gets to be just this soul, and that soul, and this soul, and that soul, and we're not mother, daughter, father, any of that. We're just one soul greeting another one. And learning that we're all part of the same stuff. And that there's no praise, no blame, no shame, no guilt attached to any of it. When we know better, we do better. And the reason that we make there are no mistakes. The reason we make the learning experiences that we have is because this is what we're learning at the time. Oh, Diane is reminding me that at the wellness center where I work, not only do I do reflexology, I also give foot baths called BioCleanse. And what it is like is a tub with warm water and sea salt and an electronic device that spins at a really high frequency, and it acts like a magnet to pull out toxins in your body. I have photographs with me, and they are repulsive. And I show them a lot. My poor son just is so embarrassed. Mother, please put those away. They are ugly, ugly, ugly. And I tell him that I know they're ugly, but sometimes the toxins that we store, because we don't know how to get rid of them, we're finding out now how to get rid of them. So they're ugly. So is some of the other stuff that's in us, and we need to get rid of it. So that's also what I'm doing. And if you're interested in seeing these repulsive photographs, let me know. I think we're done. It's been fun. And if there, oh, wait a minute, there's another. Yes, ma'am.
My name is Charlotte.
Yes, Charlotte.
Is there a way to get rid of any toxic energy within yourself by yourself when you do things for yourself?
I have rocks all over my house. And about once a month, I load them all up and I put them in the bathtub in a bunch of water. And then they're good to absorb more stuff later. Some people use light. Some people use massage. Some people use foot baths. Some people use white light. It just depends on what works for you, sweetie. And I tell people, if you've ever seen the funny movie by Walt Disney, Cinderella, you see her in her pretty white dress getting ready for the ball, and she's going like this, and there's white light spinning all around her, little sparkly white light. If you can think of that kind of white light wrapped around you, it has room in between the circles for good stuff still to get in, but the darkness can't stand that, so it kind of keeps it at bay. The reason I ask, just one second, ma'am. The reason I ask for people to tell me their name is because it helps me zero in on their energy when they say it. John Edwards does the same thing, and when you say the word, it's like calling on a telephone. You get the connection right there, and he needs to hear what you're saying to him so that he can keep in touch. Now, was there someone here with a question? Two.
I'll give you my name again. It's Caitlin.
Caitlin.
Yes. Can you only pick this up through touching the feet? Obviously, you touch these other people and other parts of their bodies before. And also, do you get more information about a person simply than their past lives? Can you get other...
Do I see the future?
Yeah.
I try not to.
Or anything else?
And I used to do massage. That was in California and Idaho and Montana and Oregon. But in Washington, you can't do that without going back to school. So I'm doing feet and hands, and that's just fine with me. Yeah, that answers your question. I think, did you have something else?
Just, could you pick up other things about a person besides their past life? Whatever their lessons are, whatever's going on with them?
It depends. Sometimes I don't even have to touch somebody. Sometimes they're just, their aura's out and it's telling me things. And sometimes Raymond's in touch with their guide and says, hey, Tell him this. Like John, his mother. So I never know. I just work here. I simply just work here. I do what they're poking me to tell me to do. And I'm trying to stay open enough to do that. And sometimes I get really tired. Most of that stuff doesn't take my energy because it's not me. I'm trying to let it come through me, not of me. So that's not always what makes me tired, just so many, I think. Just one second. There's one more person back here. Yes, ma'am.
I'm not quite sure why I'm inspired to ask you this. My name is Joy.
Yes,
but,
Joy.
5 years ago, my little dog was diagnosed with cancer, and I did Eastern and Western medicine in trying to help her with that. And in total, there were 8 occurrences, but she's been in remission almost 3.5 years now. But 2 different psychics led me to have her sleep under colored light. And they wouldn't tell me what color, just whatever color felt right to me. And to me, green was renewal.
Green's excellent.
And something is working. I mean, there's a lot that I'm doing, but I don't know. I felt like I should ask you if you know why green light works or how it
Green
works.
is a healing color. Healing and learning has to do with heart chakra. Green and pink have to do with heart chakra. And this is, the dog's eventually going to go. It's waiting now for you to accept it. And it's okay. They have a place to go just like we do. Okay?
Well, I'm fine with her going when she's ready. It doesn't
Okay.
seem like it's now. I mean,
Okay. Do what you can, because while you're doing this, you're learning more stuff.
well, it was a huge help when my father had cancer to have been through this with my dog.
The heart chakra is the one that ties them together. These are the feeling chakras. These are the mental chakras. And the heart's what ties them together in wisdom. Now, yes?
Hi, my name is Dory. On CNN, they've been talking about alien abductions. What do you think about that?
I don't think there is anything alien to God, but that's just how I see stuff. I think eventually, I mean, a long, long time ago, we could have come from someplace alien. So I think it's a catch phrase for news who want. I'm not saying it's not possible. I'm just saying, show me. I was born in Missouri. Show me. Yes, sir?
Hi, I'm Scott.
Hi, Scott.
You were talking about, I think sometimes you're getting really tired when you do the work. What do you do to recharge?
What do I do to recharge? I listen to music a lot. I used to walk at the ocean when I lived near the ocean. Now there's a lovely park I go to and take a walk. Try and notice the trees and try to think about music and sparkles around them. They're suffering so in our environment. Just whatever feels right at the time. Unfortunately, I haven't found anybody who will rub my feet. I have to do my own. Uh-oh. I thought we were done here. Yes, sir. Okay.
My name's Gene.
Hi, Gene.
And I wonder if you encounter a situation like mine, where my guide is in collaboration with the highest in me, and he's learning the lessons that I'm learning in order to help me through the pain of my life. And he's learning a great deal on his path through this collaboration. And can you tell their name, the name of the guides too? And what is mine?
Well, usually I see spirit and guides when I'm in a light. This is all dark background, and that's one of the reasons why I'm squinting. So sometimes if a person stands and there's light behind them, I can see stuff. But I mean a light background. and it's really hard in here. But if you catch me out there, I'll try and do what I can.
What about the question as to the collaborative learning relationship?
The guides we get love us from the instant we're born, and it's a contract. It's agreed upon. They're going to be with us from birth to death. And there are others that come and go. We get teachers, we get other guides that help us, but we have one that stays with us all the while. And they learn stuff just like we learn stuff. And most of the stuff that comes to me, I'm sure Raymond knows already. He's pretty swift. But I'm a little harder headed than that, so it takes me a while. But we're all doing the best we can, I'm sure. I thought I saw a hand. Yes, sir.
My name is Matt, and could you let us know what your belief system was like before the NDE and then after?
Oh, okay. I can try. Belief system.
Is there a cause and effect?
I went to church as often as I could, and I looked really, really hard for stuff that made sense to me. Unfortunately, I couldn't find a bunch. And every minister, remember I told you this is a questioning person? Ministers just wanted to see the end of me. They just wanted me to go. They said I asked way too many questions, and the answer I got most often was some things you just have to take on faith. And I really got tired of hearing that. I wanted just once to hear one of those, what they are known as spiritual leaders. I just wanted once to hear one of them say, I don't know, but why don't we find out together? Or I'll find out and let you know. They never once said, I don't know. And there's a bunch of stuff I don't know, and I've been studying ever since. Actually, comparative religion is one of the things I do best right now, and I must have 300 books on the subject. And I've found that religion gets really bogged down in mankind. And so now I think it's big business. And it bothers me a lot because people are needing something so bad to find out why they're here and what they're doing and where can they find some help. And I don't think that's the place to get it. I'm sorry, I don't particularly mean any one religion. I just mean I think we're really sold out.
You're right.
That's personal belief. Yes, sir.
It's Mike again.
Hi, Mike.
I was just wondering if on the path you're on right now, do you sometimes feel lost or?
Not anymore. I felt lost before, and I must have gone to, I tried the Baptist church, I tried the Methodist church, I tried the Presbyterian church. I came this close, oh, that's what I was going to tell you guys about. I came this close to being Catholic this lifetime, and I don't mean to denigrate the Catholic religion any more than any other one. I'm really broad-minded, I can blame them all. I loved the church. I wanted, and I would go there when no one else was around. I loved the stained glass. I loved that they were made of stone. I loved the feel of it, the incense. I really wanted to believe in it. And then when I started doing past life stuff, and I realized why my knees still ache this lifetime from penances done, or lifetime after lifetime after lifetime of asking way too many questions and being told that I needed to go and repent and scrub floors. And I decided I'd rather not do that this lifetime. I can ask questions anywhere. More than that, I don't need any minister, I can talk to God by myself.
I just meant not your belief system.
I beg your pardon?
I meant your path as a past life regression, so forth. Have you ever thought that maybe you were still supposed to be doing something more than that, or is that
I figure when I'm supposed to do something else, Raymond will give me the old nudge, or do this, or knock me in the head or something. Okay, I think, oh, there's a
I just want to
hand.
make sure, Raymond is the name of your guy, not
Raymond,
not your
yes.
ex-husband. Deceased husband, I mean.
Actually, I've been married 3 times. This is funny, because my first husband is still alive, and just as ornery as ever. So we already know there ain't no justice in the world. My second husband, we were only together 5 years, but they were really noteworthy. My present husband, we've been together for 30 years, and we have to take breaks from each other from time to time, but it is definitely karmic. I wish, if anybody knows what we're doing still together, would they please tell me? He's the sweetest man and the hardest one to live. No, he's not hard to live with. It must be me. We're still together, and I know without a shadow of a doubt that Bud went and found Henry for me again and said, "You take care of that." Henry and I went together in high school, and 18 years later we got married. So we did all of us, it sounds like a whole group. We've both been married several times before, and it's strictly karma. I know it is. Because in high school, I didn't get to see the Scorpio part of him. I only saw the Libra part. He's on a cusp. And he just said, yes, dear, yes, dear, yes, dear, until I was ready to slap him. And I said, don't you have a mind of your own? Don't you have any opinion? Come on, come on. We broke up, and like I said, 18 years later, Bud went and found him in Las Vegas. He was driving a cab there. And Bud was dead, yeah. And so, brought him back to California, up Northern California, where I lived. I was working as a receptionist at H&R Block. And Henry came in to have his taxes done. And he took one look at me and he went, "Deanna, is that you?" And you see this in the movies, and I'm here to tell you it happens. Time stood absolutely still. And Henry, his astral stepped right out of his body and went, just like that to me, and I thought, oh shit, I'm dead. I'm sorry, I said, oh my goodness. Well, you've all had a laugh, that's good. Are we done? Oh, here's a lady. Come on.
Hello.
Tell me your name.
My name is Maria.
Maria.
I am from Spain in this lifetime. So I have a question. The question is related to a very fun feeling that I have several times during the day, and it's like goosebumps coming up from the base of my spine all the way up. And sometimes I think maybe this is my guide or my guardian angel, and sometimes here like on my hair.
Maria, that's your guide, the one that does this.
Oh, really?
She's asking about chills, and I meant to tell you this. We are like 87% fluid, okay? Which means we got stuff, blood, whatever, going through us all the time. When you get chills like that, we call them confirmation chills. And that means the water, the fluid inside you is vibrating when you hear truth. It rings just like a person who tunes a piano, just like a tuning fork. Boom. And that's what it does inside you. When you get that chill feeling, you know that whatever you're listening to is dead on correct every single time. Never doubt it for a moment. Do I see a hand back there? Oh, 3. Go ahead.
My name is Virginia.
Yes,
I have a question about twin souls. Do you know anything about that? Is there such a thing?
Twin souls. Well, I've heard of soulmates, Is that anything like that?
I don't know.
There's a bunch of different opinions about this. Twin souls. I think you recognize people from other lifetimes, and it's usually a confirmation chill, or have you looked in somebody's eyes and knew that you knew them before and want to say to them, oh, or let me hug you, I haven't seen you in so long and I missed you so much. It's usually from another time. And conversely, you will find people that your auras and theirs just kind of like grate on each other. And that's from another time too. And I had one. When I was doing massage, I had this young fellow come in. I'd never seen him before. And it was his turn for a massage, and it was my turn to give him a massage. I didn't want anything to do with him. I didn't want him anywhere near me. I certainly didn't want to touch him. But I looked around and couldn't find anybody who was willing to take this guy. One was going to lunch, one was going home. Okay, I took a deep breath and I went in there and I started to say to him, what I thought I was going to say to him was, if you remove your clothes and lie down on your stomach and put a towel over your rear end, I'll be back in a minute. What came out of my mouth was, I hate you, you killed me once. I don't know where this came from, and I looked at him and he looked at me. And anyway, when it was out, it was done. And here is again what I was saying to you about coming out past your throat. When you give substance to the things that is going on in you, when you voice it, when you say the words, many times the energy is completely released. It was, he just, poor little guy, he looked so confused and he just went, oops, sorry. and it was done. And he became a regular customer of mine. He came in once a month. But I had to get that out, and you know, this pain that I'd had in my back right there, for as long as I could remember, was gone. He stabbed me once and killed me deader and, yep. Anyway, it was all done. Yes, ma'am.
My name is Kate.
Hi, Kate.
Hi. And there's a person who is sure that I have a connection to him, but I don't feel it. Can you shed some light on that?
I could do it better if I could touch you, but right now, what comes to me is, it's his problem. No, I mean, everything is a matter of perception, okay? I see this sweet little lady here with a russet top and green slacks, and they may see that she's blonde, or they may see that she has really pretty eyes. Everything is a matter of perception, and what you hold to you, what matters to you, may not matter to him, and conversely. So what happened in that lifetime that he felt the connection, you may not have.
So it's okay, I mean, I'm not...
You don't need to feel guilty about this.
That's what... Thank you.
Guilt is nonsense, just like fear. This is an interesting thing. I love words. Fear, false evidence appearing real. Be my guest. Somebody else? I thought I saw a hand somewhere. Yes.
Hi, I'm Scott.
Hi, Scott.
You mentioned that you only do, and people have been a little loose with the terminology, so you mentioned that you do past life readings.
Yes, sir.
I was curious if you'd ever been working on somebody and it just sort of flowed into a regression, either for you or for them, or if you both went along for the
More
ride.
often than I want to admit.
And is it for both of you, or?
That one I can't say. I don't know what their perception was, but I try to keep that at bay. I try to keep business, which I consider business. My reflexology is my business. Past life stuff I do because somebody asks me to for, that's spiritual stuff, that's not business. So I do it and I charge money for it, but I don't promote that. I don't, at the center, I don't say I do that. This is medical, we're trying to fit into the medical community here. This is way too woo-woo for that. So, yes, I do it sometimes in my room. The door is closed and it's not something I advertise or admit that I do there. A few of the people know, but it's not something I talk about. Yes, it has slipped over. I'm sorry to say it. I'd like to keep it on a strictly professional thing, but I'm human too. Way in the back.
I'm Donna.
Hi, Donna.
What is the acronym for love?
Love, wow. I'm going to think about that one. I'm going to think about that one. And I'll find one. Are we all done? Yes. You guys have been a great group. And by the way, it's a real pleasure to be here. I've been treated so well and so kindly by everyone. Thank you. When you do this, I was telling Diane, bye-bye. I was telling Diane earlier, when you have chakras in your hand too, and when you applaud, you make the energy, you bring the energy up and give it to the people in front of you. So when you do this, there's a wave of love that comes off the audience. There's a wave of love that comes off the audience. So any performer, no wonder they love performing. It feels so good. And no wonder, you could turn into a ham bone really easy because this stuff is marvelous. Thank you. Thank you, Deanna. It's wonderful having you here. I'm sure you all enjoyed it as well. Is Ed Kelly still here? He left. Okay. He was going to put in a word. He'll get us next time. But we are going to Ruby's today, if you want to join us over there. And I also wanted to be sure to mention that our speaker next month is Susan Weishart, who has been here before. She's going to do another, I'm not sure whether it's going to be a group past life regression or a group life between lives regression, but she does this excellently with very, very good results on the whole. So please join us for that as well. And we will see you next month.